So, hi guys, my name is Matthew Preston, and welcome to the Limitless Podcast. Joining me as always is your co-host, Thaon Simms. Say hi to the people, Thaon.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
And today we have a very special guest, the new chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and he's also the deputy CEO of GraceKennedy Financial Group, Mr. Stephen Whittingham.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Thaon. Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome to the podcast,
Awesome.
Stephen.
Thank you.
Nice. I'm so glad you took your time out and you joined us on the podcast. Preston was really busting my ears about having you on the podcast. Like, I reached out to one on X platform and this and that. So we have to schedule this time and so on. So I'm glad you could make it.
No. It was a pleasure. And Matthew reached out to me. It was in August, and sometimes in the summer it's a little tough. But I wanted to make sure that we found the time to make this happen. So it was a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion today.
Nice.
Thank you.
So I didn't really know of you until I saw the chairman announcement of
Sure.
the JSE, as we are big fans of the JSE.
Yeah.
But I searched your LinkedIn and I was looking through. By the way, I saw you're also a director of Campion College.
Yes, I'm on the board of Campion, and I'm an alumni. Yeah, so I went to Campion, and I'm on the board of Campion. It's always good to give back to the communities that I believe are so important to our society and our schools. Such a critical part of shaping the future of our country. And Campion, I'm a little biased, but I do believe is one of the best academic institutions in the Caribbean, and so it is really an honor to serve there and to try and help create new generations of Campionites that can go out and continue to change the world.
Brilliant. I think Campion is back on top for the island in terms of academic performance and so on.
So that lost it?
Last year we were in semantics, fam. So, Stephen, as I was saying, so I was kind of looking through your profile and I saw that you're an associate at BlackRock.
Yeah, man.
This huge CEO of Island Ice.
Yeah.
All these big things, right? To now you being the deputy CEO of, GraceKennedy Financial Group.
Sure.
And also now chairman of the JSE. I'd like you to just give us a little background as to, how did you get to where you are currently?
Yeah, no. Thanks. It's a very exciting story for me personally, and I love telling it because I just think it gives people hope and gives people the concept that anything in life is really achievable. So I went to Campion. And I left Campion and I went to the University of Pennsylvania, and I did my undergraduate degree there. So, as any sort of, Jamaican child that comes from a good Jamaican home, you were either told to be a doctor like you guys or a lawyer like my wife or my mother and my father. And if you were not able to, or my brother, and if you're not able to do any of those, then you'd have to do something like be an engineer, right? Because there was nothing else, right?
You're right.
And so I didn't want to be a doctor, and I definitely didn't want to be a lawyer. So I got stuck in engineering school at the University of Pennsylvania, which was an amazing experience. But it was. It was very focused on technical things, and I'll tell you a little bit about what kind of engineering I studied. But I felt like when I went away to school, the world was so much broader than what I had expected or anticipated, and so because of that, I just felt that there was a big opportunity to do more and learn more. So I took on a second degree while I was at Penn. So I did 2 degrees. I did a degree in engineering, in systems engineering, which is really, the science of systems and integrations and how all of the engineering kind of comes together, which has helped me a lot in my career. And I also did a degree in economics. And so after I finished my 2 degrees at Penn, I had a choice to make in terms of what I wanted to do in my career, and I definitely, felt like I was much more inclined to do things on the finance side of things, and so I went to work at BlackRock. And here's the thing, today it's really easy for you guys to be like, you used to work at BlackRock, that's amazing. Okay, well, here's the thing. When I joined BlackRock, BlackRock had $197 billion of assets under management. I remember because that was the first pitch book I ever made. $197 billion of assets under management. And that sounds like a lot of money, but today they have 10 trillion. Okay. So, I joined when they had 197 billion. I worked there. When I left, they had 2 trillion. And, since then, they've gone out to 10. And so, but here's the thing why it was such an amazing experience, because I was a part of watching something grow. And you'll hear me talk about this as we go along, but that was such an integral part of like helping me be successful in my life, because I watched people be successful. I watched Larry Fink grow BlackRock. I have founders of BlackRock are early stage employees who are good friends of mine that we stay in touch with. And I watched how they thought about building a business, how they were focused on creating value, and how that focus translated into actual success. And I have never forgotten those lessons. And so it's been a wonderful experience for me, that I've like filed away and kept all of those relationships as a big part of who I am. And then after that, I left. I did a stint at Morgan Stanley in New York, and Morgan Stanley actually gave me a fellowship to go to Harvard Business School. So I went to HBS, which was a phenomenal experience. At HBS, I just learned so much and connected with so many people. It has really changed the way I think about life and think about things. And you guys have what you call a Limitless podcast. Well, HBS is like the Limitless community. When you're there, there's nothing that's not possible, and anything that you can conceive, you can make it a reality. And so I had a wonderful time there. And I did a stint with Morgan Stanley in London, in their investment banking unit. But ultimately, guys, I started in Kingston, then I went to Philadelphia, then I went to New York, I went further north to New York, then I went further north to Boston, then I went to London, which is like, even further. And I said, you know what? It's a really pivotal point in my life. Do I want to go and stay far away, or do I want to come home? And I really decided that I wanted to come home. So I took that. I made a plan to come home, which was, quite unusual at the time, because I know that, today we see Jamaicans, we see entrepreneurship, we see people starting vehicles, listing them on the stock exchange and creating tons of value. And I can tell you, when I came back 15 years ago, it wasn't all like that. There was a lot of, I came back into some JDXs and some NDXs and all kinds of, macroeconomic instability. And, I came back thinking that there was an opportunity. And so, but I had to create that opportunity for myself. So, I started out with one of my colleagues at HBS, and he's Mexican. And so he and I worked together, and we put together this idea for a Caribbean and Latam like PE fund. And what we did was we got a private equity investor, a family office, to back us, and we made investments in Mexico and in the Caribbean and in Jamaica mostly. And so we went through, and after that 5-year cycle, we exited those investments, and then that's when my story at GraceKennedy started. But during that 5-year period, we did some really cool things. And in Mexico, we built out this business that provided nurses for the North American market, who were Hispanic and spoke Spanish, because, as you can understand, in the southern part of the U.S., there's a significant need for bilingual nurses, and so that was a big business that we built. And then in Jamaica, we built Island Ice, which was the combination of what was Happy Ice and what was Kingston Ice, and which is today now Pure National Ice. And then the largest transaction we did was we acquired Neil and Massey's stake in the cool petroleum business, which
Yeah.
was the Shell operation in Jamaica, and then we sold that to Rubis. So that's how Rubis ended up being in Jamaica. So, very interesting 5-year period. Lots of lessons learned.
5 years.
Lots of
That's a
All
battles.
of
lot
that
Lots
in
in
of
5 years.
That's a
lots of
lot.
battle scars, though, guys. I'm telling you, it was a different world.
Yeah, I
It
can
was a
imagine.
different world, but lots of battle scars. But we're all better for it. And then Don Webby reached out to me. I had been
Mhm.
I had been a director of GK Insurance, which is one of Grace Kennedy's financial group's leading financial entities, and
Mhm.
it was called JIC at the time, Jamaica International Insurance Company. And he invited me to be an independent director. And so after
Mm.
I, finished my private equity portfolio, he said, "Look, Stephen, and can you come and join the Grace Kennedy Group? We have an opportunity for you." And the story is almost 12 years later, and here I am.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay.
As
Wow.
deputy CEO. That's
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
that's big.
That's a
Yeah,
big
so
deal.
Grace Kennedy is structured as you guys know, I'm very passionate about Grace Kennedy, and
Mhm.
we're going to talk about stock exchange, but I'm very passionate about Grace Kennedy. I think it's a flagship organization for Caribbean people, and for the entire Caribbean. Whenever I walk into a store in London or in the United States, and I see Grace
Mhm.
Kennedy's products on the shelves, I mean, the sense of pride that I get, from being a part of that organization is amazing. And when you walk into our distribution facilities, outside of Jamaica, and even ones in Jamaica, you just realize how large a business it is, and then the biggest thing is the connection that it has with people. There, you do not say grace without the other person smiling. All right, I said grace, and you guys smiled, and so it's truly amazing to be a part of that organization, and it's set up in two divisions. So we have our foods division, which is our international and our domestic foods business, which is
Mhm.
very popular. Everyone knows and very familiar with all our products, locally, internationally, which includes our Hispanic brands like La Fe, and our brands that are very much focused on the UK and the European markets. And then we have our financial services business, which is much more of a regional business focused on the Caribbean. And in that business, we have our partnership with Western Union, where we represent them in most of the English-speaking Caribbean. And you guys, you think about it, remittances represent somewhere between 15 to 20% of the gross domestic product of most of the countries that we are operating in. So it's a huge business, right? Banking with First Global Bank in Jamaica, and merchant banking with Signia in Barbados, the largest merchant bank. Insurance, our general insurance businesses, GK Insurance, Key Insurance. We have the largest brokerage in Jamaica, Allied Insurance Brokers. And then we have Canopy, which is our life and health insurance business in Jamaica, and then GK Life Insurance, which is formerly Scotiabank's life insurance business all across the Caribbean, which is in now 13 or 14 countries. So it's a broad business, and then we have obviously our corporate office headed by our CEO Don Webby, and so very, very, very dynamic group of leaders that are focused on continuing to build on the tradition of this great company that we all work for.
Mhm.
Now, we are
Very cool.
also really big fans of Grace Kennedy. One of the things that was put out, I think it was a couple of years back, but your
2030
2030
vision.
vision,
Yes.
Mm.
yes,
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
ambitious,
Yeah.
right? Because we most people know of, when I first started investing,
Yeah.
the broker that I went to, they listed a few stocks, and that's just the stock that people reel off the tip of their tongue. Grace
Yeah.
Kennedy,
Yes.
your other. I'm not gonna mention the other stocks, but
No,
just
you
because
don't
you're
need,
here.
but you don't need to, but you can, because we're also talking about the stock exchange, so they're all listed.
Ah,
So don't
I
worry, don't
love
worry,
that. Okay,
don't
fair.
worry, don't worry.
Yeah, so they talk about the blue chip stocks, and what that means is, those are just established, businesses, profitable, well
Yeah.
recognized, etc.
Mhm.
And Grace Kennedy is always in the top three that they mention always,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But when I saw the 2030 vision, I thought this is a very ambitious goal.
Yeah.
to have most of the revenues, 70% of the revenues and
We
profits
should share it.
earned outside of Jamaica.
Yeah.
2 billion US in revenues,
Yeah.
and GKFG and foods, because you spoke about both
Yeah.
arms, right? The financial group
Yeah.
and the foods group, the food section, the foods division listed on, different stock exchanges
Yeah.
overseas. We haven't seen a lot. Well, Grace to me has been quiet with certain things, and
Yeah.
I guess it's just these type of things. Is it that based on the macroeconomic factors, the things that are going on throughout the world, high inflation rates, all those things, are those hindering that vision, that growth, or
Yeah.
is it something else? I'm not sure.
No, no. So the 2030 vision is something that our CEO is very, very passionate about, and he doesn't go anywhere without talking about it. And it's something that is, the kind of excitement that you have. It's something that permeates through our entire organization when we think about it. But I wouldn't say that we're not focused on or we've been quiet. So what we do, he always says, what gets measured gets done, right? And so we have a chart to our 2030 vision, and we are held as our team members are accountable to meeting and staying along with that chart. And I think we're well on that trajectory. There are some things that we need to do. He always talks about inorganic activity, acquisitions being playing a big part of that ambitious target.
Hmm.
But you know what? When you have a really powerful business with a powerful brand, there's a lot that you can do internally, right? And a big part of what we have been doing is investing in the infrastructure for us to go out and execute, right? And so, we've done some amazing things like very, very quietly, we've upgraded our entire core platform that our food business runs on globally, right? Upgraded that platform, which really puts us in a position to compete with all of the large global players on the food and consumer goods businesses, right? And so, those are just some of the things that we've been doing. I know, and not everything is like on a headline, and you have to go out and make a lot of noise, but there's a lot of infrastructure work that has been happening. On the financial group side, we have gone out and 5 years ago, when I took over our insurance division, we did not have a life and health business. Okay. And today in Jamaica, the Canopy is an amazing growth story that has everybody involved, or it's a partnership with the Muslim Group, and everybody involved is so proud of what we've been able to achieve. We've been able to get significant market share in the health insurance space in Jamaica. That market was dominated by two people, and we came in and really made a push. We have an amazing book of clients that are extremely happy with the services that we offer. And then we went out and, after the success of Canopy in Jamaica, we went out and acquired Scotia's life insurance business in the Eastern Caribbean and in Northern Caribbean. And so, now we have a life insurance business that is operating in multiple markets in the Caribbean. And why is that important? Because we believe that is also a platform again for us to build out and to grow. And so I just give you two quick examples of things that may have gone under the radar, but I'm telling you, if you're a shareholder in GraceKennedy, which it sounds like you are, you should be very proud about the work that the team is doing under the leadership of our current CEO, Dan Webby.
Yeah.
True.
No, what I really like about GraceKennedy, I do like the 2030 vision, but even you guys, your share buyback.
Yes.
A lot of people, your share buyback in terms of how many. I like that you guys say, okay, we're having this target, and
Yeah.
you are actually actively buying
Yes.
quite a good amount of shares on the market. And I
Yeah.
think that's pretty smart, because you see that 2030 vision. Some people on the market may not say, okay, what level of growth that's going to be for GraceKennedy.
Yeah.
If you do the multiples, you do the math, it's a significant jump. And you've
Absolutely.
even pointed towards the fact that, okay, yes, you're going to do some organic growth, but
Yeah.
you're going to have to do some inorganic growth. So there's going to be some likely major acquisitions. And you guys have also mentioned trying to list on an overseas stock exchange. that's another huge deal because the amount of money that you guys could access is going to be massive for something like that. And
Absolutely.
I know like a lot of people on things like Wall Street, and you even mentioned you have connections with investment banking in the US.
Yeah.
So there can be that synergy there that you can say, okay, we have these deals, we want to acquire this company, we want to do this. And I definitely see that, GraceKennedy is probably I'd say it's probably one of my favorite blue chip stocks.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave it at this. Our CEO always ends every one of his speeches with GraceKennedy. He says the best is yet to come. So I'll leave you with that one, guys.
I love that. I love that. I have to agree with Matthew right there with the share buyback. Not a lot of companies do that, especially when their stock
Yeah.
is undervalued. Because right
Yeah.
now the PE is around 9,
Yeah.
and you guys have been buying back. Not a lot of companies have been doing that, and
Yeah.
it's not really to us as shareholders. Well, to us as shareholders,
Yeah.
it's a positive. It looks very positive for us.
Yeah.
It says that you guys have a vested interest in the stock price, and that's what a lot
Yeah.
of us investors really and truly do care about.
Yeah. No.
And the
I mean,
management owns a lot of shares too.
no, yeah, we are the management that we're shareholders, and I think any good program for leadership within a public listed company should have the management aligned with the shareholders, and I think GraceKennedy has always been a big believer in that from its inception in 1922. They've always believed in shareholder in employee interest in the company, right? And then as it relates to to buybacks, I mean, I would just say that we've been operating in an environment with high interest rates. You talked about that macroeconomic environment and what that generally does for stocks, and I think that kind of environment makes people make allocation choices that maybe move away from stocks, and that may hurt earnings multiples. And so some companies may decide that that buybacks are a good tool to ensure that they consistently create value for their shareholders, and GraceKennedy has certainly been one of those companies.
Hey, excellent. But we've been talking about GraceKennedy, but we also have to talk about the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the fact that GraceKennedy is listed on the JSE.
Sure.
You were recently appointed the new chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Just give us an idea of what your vision is for the Jamaica Stock Exchange over some time periods, say maybe the next 3 years, next 5 years, or maybe even the next 10 years.
Yeah. So I think so first of all, I mean, it was an absolute honor to be appointed the chairman of the stock exchange. And it's an organization that I have been a director of for many years. GraceKennedy, I actually sit on the board because the GraceKennedy Group is a shareholder in the Jamaica Stock Exchange, as are other broker dealers, and so it was a pleasure to be appointed the chairman. And when you walk into the boardroom and you look at the pictures of the people on the wall, the previous chairman and chairwoman, it's hard to believe, Matthew and Thaon, that I'm now the chairman. It's definitely something that is an honor, and I take it very seriously. And particularly, I'm excited because the stock exchange itself is such an awesome organization, guys. So if you just stop and think about it, right? Jamaica, we as a country, we excel in so many different ways in the global scene that we sometimes take it for granted, right? Like our music, you walk anywhere in the world and hear our music. You go anywhere and people are talking about their athletes. And I just think it's amazing that our stock exchange also, was able to achieve that kind of global excellence, right? I mean, our stock exchange was ranked the #1 stock exchange globally 2 years, over sort of like a 5-year period. And that's just a testament to the institution that we've built in this really small Caribbean island. And we have an organization that is encouraging entrepreneurship through the the junior stock exchange. Okay, that's creating wealth and providing capital market access to through the main markets, right? And that's doing things like the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is also facilitating some of the other areas of our country that definitely need some support, right? And then we have a whole host of initiatives that Dr. Street Forest speaks about on any given day, because she has just been a fantastic managing director of the stock exchange. She's so passionate about what she does that when you think about it all, like it's an amazing organization, and it's done exceptionally well. And the previous chairman was Julian Mayer, and Julian helped navigate us through the pandemic. In fact, when his term ended, I couldn't believe it that his term had been up, because it just felt like it was, he had just joined the other day. And I had been deputy chairman for a few years, and so the opportunity came, and now it's really about what's next for the exchange, and what do we really intend to focus on, and how do we intend to create value going forward.
Like, how do you guys plan to, for example, differentiate yourself from other stock exchanges in the Caribbean and even in the world?
Okay, so I mean, in the Caribbean, I would say that so there are a few pillars that the stock exchange has in terms of strategic initiatives, but there are three that I really focus on. The first one is regional expansion, so I'll talk about that specifically. And then the other two are diversified revenue streams. And then the third one is increased public financial literacy, right? Because I think that there's a big opportunity there to continue to get more people involved. All right. So with respect to how we plan to differentiate, I think that kind of falls into the first category of my areas of focus, which is regional expansion, right? So I think if you think about the Caribbean, as somebody who actively does business in many markets in the Caribbean, Jamaica has by far the most advanced capital market structure, right? We have a stock exchange that's vibrant. We have regulators that, notwithstanding issues from time to time, really adequately govern our financial system, and we have brokerage houses, financial institutions that are constantly focused on coming up with new and innovative solutions to get our investing community involved, and to create value for all of those people who are participating in our capital market. So we have a vibrant capital markets, right? I would say to you that there are other islands and other markets that don't have as vibrant capital markets, right? And so one of the big things for me personally is, how do we find ways to get the companies in other countries actively participating in our capital markets. And we've seen it. So you see that Massey is cross-listed on the stock exchange here. I think there's a whole host of other opportunities for lots of companies that are well poised to be a part of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, right? And so you're going to see, I think, a lot of activity in that area going forward. There's always been talk, right, about should there be merging or acquiring of exchanges and things like that. And on the face of it, I think those things make sense. Like consolidation as a general economic principle, I think there is value to be had in consolidation. But there are other factors that are involved, and we can't eliminate the concept of national pride associated with different countries and their stock exchanges. Can't ignore the fact that a lot of these countries are small island states that need to manage their financial programs effectively and efficiently, and so and regulating their stock exchange within their own parameters really does help them do that. So maybe there are some things that prevent sort of like the consolidation that you normally think about, but But our stock exchange is open. It is open for business. It is open for partnerships. We're going down to Guyana again in October for the second year in a row, to find ways to increase the level of partnership with that market. They have lots of lots of oil, lots of money associated with oil. We have a robust capital market structure. We have an excellent regulatory regime. There must be an opportunity for us to collaborate and for us to work together. And so the theme really for me is about how do we find partnerships that leverage this amazing platform that we have, to build out the stock exchange and to create value for the shareholders of the stock exchange first and foremost, but also to create value for Jamaicans and all of those people who invest in the stock exchange.
Mm-hmm. Because you mentioned the cross listing. I
Yes.
think it was last year or early this year. You guys, the JSE mentioned that they're working on a partnership with the Nairobi Stock Exchange to
Yes.
actually have
Yes.
companies cross listing, like us listing companies there and then them also listing companies. And another thing that the JSE mentioned either this year or last year was that they wanted to allow overseas investors or international investors to actually more easily invest on the JSE. So I think that's definitely a big push, because if you look at, for example, a lot of our companies on the JSE,
Yeah.
the multiples that they're trading at, for example, the kind of company GK is, like commercial GK.
Yeah.
What Thaon mentioned, the PE was like 9, and if you look at the plans that they're having, on an overseas, on like a more, I guess you'd say, developed stock market, it would not be trading at that price.
Well, I would not say more developed. I would say our stock market is fairly thinly traded, right? And so, a lot of what happens is that if you look at like how stocks move, sometimes stocks move at very significant impact on prices for very relatively small volume. So the trading sometimes can be thin, and that impacts a lot of the companies. And so making sure our stock exchange is open, and that's the word I will continue to use. Our stock exchange is open. It's open for business. It's open for partnerships. It's open for customers. It's open. Okay. The more open our stock exchange is, I think the more I think you will see that alignment with global multiples, and probably see increases in that. So I'm very bullish on the market itself, right? Because as you said, if you look at companies that are solid, have good growth plans, and they're trading at multiples below 10, you really need to kind of think about what opportunities there are to invest in that kind of vehicle, because the upside should be significant.
Agreed. And I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners would love to hear this. Like, they're hearing all of this and it sounds so great.
Yeah.
It's just so there's one of the things that you spoke about 3 different things, and I think the third thing was in terms of the JSE and financial literacy, public financial literacy.
Yes.
So that is one of our goals as well, even with the Limitless podcast.
Sure.
A lot of the things we do talk about, how we break down certain companies, how we talk about investing and making it, very real and relatable to a lot of people. Our hope is that, we do that same, we share that same sentiment, we share that same vision, where we try to get as many people investing, as many people understanding a bit more, about the financial world and so on. Because as doctors, we never knew anything about this, right? We never did one business course, neither Preston nor me. We never did a business course at all. Business was not taught at all in med school or anything like that. So yearly we have partnerships with, the UE, the classes at UE, the med students specifically, and we do a quick crash course. We talk about investing, budgeting, credit cards, those kind of things. So we are aligned in that goal for financial literacy in the public.
Yeah, so I think I'm happy we're all aligned, because I think that's going to be a big part of our future, right? So I'm really excited to hear about those kind of initiatives that you have, getting people more comfortable with finance. And some people are a little scared of it, right? I know as you guys are doctors, I know maybe some of your colleagues just you guys are very excited and trying to find and learn more. Maybe some people are less so
More
inclined, and
reserved.
so more
Definitely.
reserved, and so and then you have and then I just think that we all benefit from knowing and understanding more about finances, decisions that we make, and I actually think it's pretty cool that you're able to invest in companies that you actually see and touch.
Very cool.
One of the things that I have to tell you, I was always very surprised at how large the investing universe in Europe and the United States is, right? I mean, like I was at BlackRock for years, or when I was at Morgan Stanley. I mean, I just would learn about new companies every day, right? That have significant market caps, right? And I follow a lot of what some hedge fund investment managers do, and so and some of them share their investment thesis and their rationale to their client base, and so they share with me, what their thinking is, why they're buying into these stocks. And I mean, 9 out of 10 times, I've never heard of that stock before, right? And I'm learning about that company, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm learning about the industry that the company operates in. I'm learning about the companies that are also in the industry. I'm learning about that company. I'm learning about that company's leadership. I'm learning about that company's plans for the future, and all of those things combine to make an investment decision. Right now, here in
Yeah.
Jamaica, we have the amazing opportunity that when you think of a publicly listed company, most of the investing public has the opportunity to look and see what that company does. Right, it is right there. Right, if you want to if you're thinking about buying GraceKennedy stock, go and look at the supermarkets, go to Hilo, see what's happening there, look on the shelves in any store, and you can say, look, these products are staples of the Jamaican community. Look at Western Union, look at what that business is doing. Look at First Global Bank and their digital offerings. And I'm just telling the story of GraceKennedy, but there are so many other companies out there that the average consumer can go out and see and touch and feel and help make their own investment decisions. And so for me, I think look, I want people to be as excited about investing in stocks as they are in buying cash pot.
Agree. No, 100%
So we
agree.
can work together to increase the literacy to get to that point, guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we also love partnerships and collaborations and so on. So we
Absolutely.
should definitely talk.
Yeah, man, we can definitely talk, man, for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Another question. So in terms of the JSE,
Sure.
and we're talking about, I know we spoke about more, I guess, developed or sophisticated quote unquote markets
Yeah.
and so on. I've seen even, greener articles in the past talk about, us integrating with the NASDAQ
Yeah.
and, possibly bringing short into the market and so
Sure.
on. So I wanted to know how important is technological innovation for the future of the JSE? What role do you see it play, and what things
Okay.
can we expect from
Okay.
the JSE?
Yeah. So technology is the beginning and the end of commerce in today and in the future. Okay. And so anybody you have talking on your podcast about their business and they're not focused on how technology is going to help their business stay ahead of the curve, how it's going to help them become more efficient in how they operate, how it's going to help them improve the way they interact with their customers, and how it's going to help their customers have a better customer experience, is something that you should probably be concerned about, because this is how we are moving forward, right? There is no other way. So so the Jamaica Stock Exchange runs on Nasdaq, on Nasdaq's platform, right? And so one of the things that the leadership of the stock exchange has always done was made sure that we invested in a robust trading platform that gives us lots of flexibility to do lots of things. So all of the things that you've just mentioned, things like short selling, things like that, things like we've talked about, trading of like government bonds, The other day, they launched a green bond initiative. All of these things are able to be done because of the technology platform that we have invested in, and that allows us to operate efficiently and effectively going forward. So technology will not be, in my opinion, the hindrance of the JSE going forward. The organization is committed to staying at the forefront of technology and what they can create. We released a new app the other day. We updated the app. It's still I think there's still things we can do, and the team assures me they're like so excited about what else they're adding. But I have my portfolio that I mimic in my app, and so every day I come in and see how it's doing. And GK is my number one stock. Um, but the idea is, just making sure that that the stock exchange is able to create new products to give its customers the opportunity to trade. I think that's really important, and the technology platform is there to do that.
Mm-hmm. Big up.
I think one of the other things, though, that I don't want to minimize this, but rules and the regulation around the various products that we create are exceptionally important, right? So we need to make sure that we create, we whatever we do, when we are, dreaming up all of these wonderful things that we don't do harm. And so we need to make sure that the rules are in place to facilitate the kind of activity that we want, and to also ensure that the capital markets continue to be stable, right? So that's something we do, and we work very closely with the regulators to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think one of the, I guess I'll let Preston go right after. So this one thing. So when I first started investing, right, you guys have come a long way since then. That was 2019. But when I started investing, at first I had no concept of what the market should look like, what the technology should look like, all of those things. But now, in I guess today, I've seen a lot of other, there's some competitors out there in terms of different platforms and so on. I'm not sure if you've even heard of one. I'm gonna big up My Money JA. I love that technological integration. I love the portfolio tracking and so on. So I think that in terms of technological advancement for the JSE, there's opportunity. I just think there's like a lot of room to grow with other, just seeing. You've worked at, abroad. You've seen probably like Robinhood's platform and all these other platforms and so on.
I'm a Robinhood customer. Yeah, I'm a Robinhood customer, and so I've watched those platforms. I'm a customer of a lot of other platforms, and the stock exchange sees value in facilitating trades like that. And I know that the brokerage community also sees value in finding ways for customers to effectively trade, and so I think the future is kind of bright for our market and for our customers, and what it means for them in terms of opportunities to purchase and sell stocks.
Okay. Because one of the things I'd say, like, the website, I definitely, it definitely needs, there's a lot to improve on. Like, for example, I think you can only see the trade history or the stock price history for a year.
Years, yes.
Yeah, so that's definitely something, or even JTrader.
Man. So a big initiative that the stock exchange has is around, leveraging the data that it has, and finding ways to get that in the hands of the investing public. And so you're going to see some things that come out in the near future on that. But the point is absolutely well taken, and know that the management and the board recognize that the value of data and what that can mean for the investing public.
Okay, awesome. So earlier you mentioned the whole thing of, doing the research, on the ground, looking in the supermarket, stuff like that, doing that research, right? And you also mentioned that your one of your favorite stocks, naturally, or of course,
Yeah.
is GraceKennedy.
Yeah.
But something I'd have to ask, we like to ask all our guests this, are, what are two other companies that you
Oh.
like on the Jamaica Stock Exchange?
Whoa.
And you can't say GK and you can't say the JSE.
Oh my gosh, you just took away my two companies. You just took away my two companies. All right, so Key Insurance Limited. Okay.
Well,
Key Insurance Limited. No. 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 On a serious note, I really, don't want to comment on any specific companies because as a chairman, I don't want to, these coming across as
fully understood.
Okay,
Fully
okay.
understood.
But what I will say to you is this, okay?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let me tell you something that makes me really excited. Okay, I am completely excited by the junior stock exchange. Okay,
Us too.
and let me tell you why. And I know that the market loves it because there's been a lot of success stories that have come out of the junior market, JSE junior market, and for that they're right to love it, right? But guys, I am a fan. I am a disciple of entrepreneurship. I love to see people build businesses from the ground up, right? And I love to see what the junior stock exchange does in terms of encouraging people who have grown their businesses to transform them from family type businesses into publicly traded companies that adhere to global best practices in terms of financial reporting, in terms of governance and board structures and all of these things. Guys, that story is amazing, and I think I mean I don't have the data to back this up, so I'm going to speak anecdotally, and I'm actually probably going to ask some of the guys to look and see. But I'm just telling you, I don't think there are many countries in the world that can talk about what we have done with our stock exchange, right? And especially on the junior market, and what it was quite bold, right? Because encouraging people, giving people tax breaks, at a point in time in our economy when we needed all of the tax money. So it was really bold to go out and make that decision, and I think it has been one of the best decisions that that collectively as a nation we have made because transforming that vision from a simple entrepreneur into list publicity company, that journey is amazing. It's amazing. And
I
so
agree.
so
The
so
junior
I'll
market is very special. Very, very special
yeah,
place.
so I'll just tell you, I'll just give my kudos to the junior market.
Okay.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
also with the government announcing that they want to increase the share capital limit, like the junior market companies, they used to only be
Yes.
able to raise 500 million.
Yes.
Have they given you guys any update on that? Because I know that they have said it should be increased to the 750 million, but I think that was early in the year and it's been several months and I don't think it's actually gone through yet.
Yes, well, I'm expecting it. I'm expecting it this year. I know our Minister of Finance is kind of busy these days, but I'm expecting it this year. Based
Okay.
on just what I've heard and being consistent with even what you said. I'm expecting it this year.
Okay.
And
Well,
I think that's big because if you think about that $500 million limit, that limit was so many years ago, and I think increasing it to 750 just keeps it at around where it was when it was first instituted, and I think it's going to do a lot in terms of what kind of companies can list on a junior exchange, and continue this like wonderful Cinderella entrepreneurship story that we have that goes on well beyond midnight.
mhm.
Love that. I
Yeah.
have a personal question.
Sure.
What was the first stock? Not JSE because I know, but what was the first stock that you bought and why did you buy it?
Okay. The first stock that I bought. So I tell you a story. Okay. When I went to undergrad, I told you I was doing a dual degree engineering degree and
Econ.
an econ degree, and so I did not have any time, right? I just lived in this little bubble, and between that and just having fun at college, and so I never really started to invest until I went to BlackRock, right? And the reason I'm telling this story is because I remember the first day I walked onto the trading floor at BlackRock, and I had never seen anything like it. Right? I mean, there was like 100 people at their desks, each of them with at least 4 screens. Right? It looked like the Starship Enterprise. It's like circular and everything, and I'm just like, this is amazing, and everybody is trading, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, um, look at all of these people spending all of this time
Money.
trying to analyze stocks, to try to make the right decisions,
Yeah.
to try and create value. And so it actually made me pull back on how I thought about investing, right? Because I was like, oh my God, there are all of these experts. I'm not an expert. And so here's how I looked at things, right? And this was the same example I kind of gave you about, the supermarket and the supermarket shelves. I invest in companies that I see, feel, and touch. I invest in companies that make me feel good as a customer. Okay. I invest in companies that I believe offer services that make the world, our products, make the world a better place, right? Because at the end of the day, like those companies, I believe will transform how we operate, and then will become a part of the fabric of society, right? And so I've been a long-standing Apple shareholder, okay, because I just I love their products, right? I'm on my Apple device now, and so I I just tell you that because it's less important what the company was, and more important, how I feel with the connection with the business, and so I think that taking that approach allows anybody to become an investor. You don't need to. I mean, it's helpful if you understand PE multiples, and if you understand, like, dividend yields and total return and all of these things. It's really helpful if you understand that. But at the end of the day, if it's also helpful if you understand what a company does, and if you think they're going to be better off tomorrow than they are today.
Powerful. That's really good advice.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Preston.
So one of the things that is very important in a company, especially when you think in long term, you need to have succession planning.
Sure.
And you guys have had the managing director,
Yes.
and I know that it is essentially reaching her tenure. I think she should be possibly leaving this year.
Yeah.
So how close are you guys into that process of selecting a new managing director?
Okay, so my response to questions around succession planning are that succession planning is obviously a critical part um, of any organization, around the future of the organization. And it is a responsibility of the board. One of its primary responsibilities to ensure that that there is a robust succession plan in place, right? With that said, I'm also a little bit mindful about talking about people's personal situations, and when they're retiring and when they're not. I will agree with you that it's been in the public domain that Dr. Street Forest is nearing the end of her tenure at the stock exchange. And I would also tell you that I take this opportunity to tell you that I think she has been one of the most dynamic CEOs, managing directors in Jamaican corporate life for the last 20 years. She has been amazing and she's done a fantastic job, and she needs to be recognized and rewarded, and like everything good that needs
Achievements
her
really
achievements
speak.
are amazing. They speak for
Yeah.
her. Yeah, they speak for
Yeah.
themselves, right? And so you have my commitment as that the board is very much focused on that, on the transition, on ensuring that there is appropriate succession plan in place. We are very committed to finding the best talent for the organization to lead that organization, and we are very open. I told you that word is never going to go away for me and the stock exchange. We are open to finding the best candidate anywhere. And it is something that we're actively focused on now, because succession planning is really important.
All right. So in terms of outside of your professional role, because
Yeah,
you
man.
stated a lot that you do, like what else is there to Stephen? Like what other interests, what other passions do you pursue currently?
Yeah. All right. So I think the first thing is that you have to understand that I have 4 children, right? One girl and 3 boys, and they are, to say that they're a handful is like an understatement, right? It's amazing that I even got 55 minutes to talk to you guys without being interrupted.
Interruptions.
But who knows? We never speak too soon. But they are lovely. They're lovely. No, for me, seriously, family is very important. My wife, my kids, my parents, her parents. I just believe that family is the center of someone's life, and once you're grounded there, it really allows you to go out and perform well at work, to go out and contribute to society. And so staying there in that kind of like positive family environment is something really important to me. Fitness is something that is also important to me, so I try and exercise a lot. um
Okay.
I run a few days a week. I run a 5K a few days a week, and then I also Peloton a lot as well. And so
Wow.
I'm not into riding bicycles on the road. That's a little too dangerous for me. But fitness is another thing. I am a big Arsenal fan. So I know that's
Oh.
I know that can
Oh.
be a touchy topic depending on who I'm speaking to.
Speaking to a
But
Chelsea fan there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know, I 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 know. So thank you for Raheem Sterling. I appreciate it.
I
And
actually think he's gonna do well at Arsenal,
I think he's gonna
surprisingly though.
do. I think he's gonna do well.
Yeah.
He is also my neighbor in Kingston. His house and my
Oh
house are on the
wow.
same road. So,
Oh wow.
Wow, wow,
and
wow.
I'm an Arsenal season ticket holder. So
Wow.
I think he and I need to. So if he
Yeah.
listens to your podcast, Raheem, let me know. And also, Thaon, thank you for also paying more than half his salary. I really appreciate
Wow, yeah, it's over 2/3. Yeah, it's crazy. And he's on over
it.
300.
So
It's insane what these footballers make. Over
yeah,
300,
absolutely. Yeah.
325k pounds per
Yeah.
week.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
it's staggering if you try and think about it. Yeah.
Yes,
It's
quite, quite,
staggering.
quite.
It's staggering. It's staggering.
Yeah.
I think we need to get Raheem to invest in the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Exchange. That is very true.
Well,
And
and I'll
on that same note, actually, um, you see, all right. So I know even to get your goal for the stock exchange, is to part of it can be to bring in that kind of investment, whether it's from Jamaicans here, diaspora, etc.
sure.
But in terms of people that haven't started investing,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to anyone that's looking to just starting their investment journey? Like
Yeah,
what's
no.
the one thing that you kind of say to them?
That one is so easy. You should have started yesterday. Okay? And here's the thing. In life, people always think that, in order to do something, it requires a lot. It always requires more than you think, right? And people always have that in their mind. They're like, it's, to do this, the hurdle is this high. The hurdle to invest in a JSE is this low. Okay? It is really this low. And you can invest relatively small amounts of money. You can participate, you can learn, you can grow over time. And people think about the stock market as risky, but risk is relative, right? And if you're only investing a small amount of money, then how risky is it really, right? And so
Yes, one
um,
stock for GK is $72,
one
JMD.
stock is $72, right? And so what is it going to be in 2030? I don't know,
We'll
right?
see.
But we'll see, right? But the point I'm making is just that it's just get up and do it. Honestly, it's not difficult, it's not hard, and I think it will open up a new world for you in terms of how you think about how you just think about your daily life, right? And how you think about creating wealth for yourself and for your family, because ultimately, we go through life, we go to work. I go to GraceKennedy, you guys go to hospitals. We go to work to provide for ourselves and for our families, to create wealth. And one of the best ways to do that is to invest what you earn prudently. And I believe there's in Jamaica, there are many, 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 many options to help you invest prudently in the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for your time. We do appreciate it. Yes, guys, if you guys love this content, click subscribe. If you just liked it, then a thumbs up would be great. If you thought Stephen was our great guest, just talk about it in the comments. Leave the comments down below. Thank you so much again, Sir Whittingham, Preston, and that's it. Limitless out.
No, guys,
Peace.
thank you.